let's do problem number 4. This one might actually be a challenge. We'll see what happens. It's all about factoring, and factoring is always harder than expanding. So let's factor each expression. First, we're going to start with 4x squared minus 25. I can see immediately that this term right here is a square and this term right here is a square. So we can actually use something I've mentioned before. So we're going to call this 2x quantity squared, and this is going to be minus 5 squared. So then, I'll just write it out over here. If you have a squared minus b squared, you can factor that into a plus b times a minus b. Coming over here, we get 2x plus 5 times 2x minus 5. Is that fully factored? Yes. Here's a degree 1 term. Here's another degree 1 term. You couldn't possibly do better than that. Let's see what's going on with the number b. Okay, 2x squared plus 5x minus 12. So, factoring is, there's a million ways to skin this cat. They're making it a little bit hard because there's a term right here. If this was just a 1, maybe it would be easier. We want our term to divide over here. We could use the quadratic formula. We could complete the squares. We could divide everything by 2, or we could just guess. So maybe we'll just guess. So if there's only a few things that divide this well. So the factors of this are 2 and 3. We'll say 2, 3, and 4. So, and then here's a 2. And then how do we get 5? So, if we did 2 times 3 over here somehow, and then add them together, we'd get 5. I don't know. Y'all are in luck. I'm completely perplexed. Aside from doing the ways that I suggested, guessing at this isn't. Let's go guess and check. Let's try that. Okay, so we're gonna get 2x plus let's say 3. Oh, so there's a minus sign here, so that's really good. So one of these terms over here is going to be a minus. So we're actually going to end up multiplying and then subtracting. So let's go ahead and do, I don't know, let's do a 4 here. And then it's going to be x. Let's try a minus 3 here. So here we're going to have 2x squared, which is great. Over here we're going to have negative 12, which is even better. And then we're going to have 4x minus 6x, which is not as good. So 4x minus 6x. So what if we swap these? What if we said this is a 3 and this is a 4? So then we'd have 3x minus, and here we're going to have 8x, which is going to get us really close. But we're going to end up with negative 5x. So what if we swap the signs here? I'll just turn this into a plus right here. So let's do it. 2x minus 3x plus 4. So again, if we FOIL this out, which is really how you check, you'd end up with 2x squared. First outer is going to be plus 8x minus 3x and minus 12. Okay, and this right here is going to be 5x, and we get what we wanted. So our solution is this factored thing right here. Again, we've got a degree 1 term here, degree 1 term here, And that's that. Okay, was that exciting? Didn't know if I was going to be able to get it there in one fell swoop, but we were lucky a little bit. Okay. So let's go ahead and do this one. Oh, it's going to be a cubic. X cubed minus 3x squared minus 4x plus 12. Okay, well, this doesn't follow the Fibonacci sequence. So if you remember, the Fibonacci sequence is like this: 1, 2, 1, 1, 3, 3, 1. So it goes coefficient 1, coefficient -3, which isn't that big of a deal. But then how are we going to get a 4 here and when we multiply 3 by something? And then how are we going to get a 12 here over here? So this, and then also this term is going to be, I believe, cubed. So, and 12 is not the cube of anything. So the Fibonacci sequence is not going to work for us. What we can do is we can plug in some numbers here and see if we get 0. So if we plug in 0, which is my favorite, we'd love to get a 0, but we don't. We get 12. If we plug in 1, we're getting somewhere. We got 1, so this is going to be 1 minus 7. So this is going to be 13 minus 7, which is definitely not 0. And then if we say 2, this might work. So 2 is going to give us 8 minus 3 times 4 minus 2 times 4 plus 12. So this is going to give us 20 minus 12 minus 8. And that is, in fact, equal to 0, which is exactly what we would like. So 2. So now we actually have to do a synthetic division of this polynomial. Well, rather than doing synthetic division, because I don't think that that's a very, like, you have to memorize synthetic division as its own thing. And I think that this is nice. If we have a root of 2, that means that we can pull out a factor of x minus 2. So everybody knows the long division algorithm. So let's go ahead and write that one down. It requires writing more x's, but I think that is not so bad as long as we are able to get more meaning out of what we're looking at. So how do we get x cubed? We multiply by x squared. So we get x cubed minus 2x squared. And don't forget your algorithm. We have to subtract this, okay? So pulling that minus sign in, we're going to negative that and plus that. Trying to make this clear for y'all. And then we're going to get negative x squared. And then we just drop down everything else. Okay. So then how do we get to negative x squared? We, of course, multiply by negative x. So minus x. We're going to get negative x squared. And then negative x times negative 2 is going to be positive 2x. Let's do this. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so going here, we're again going to take the negative of that, taking the negative inside, we're going to add a negative sign right there. So these guys cancel out, and we're left with negative 4x minus 2x, which is negative 6x plus 12. All right, how do we get to negative 6x? We multiply by negative 6. So negative 6x. And then negative 6 times negative 2 is plus 12. Again, we're going to take the negative of all that, pulling the negative in. This gets positive and this gets negative. And I don't know why I did all that. We can clearly see that this is going to end up as 0. Okay, so fantastic. So now we know we have factored it a little bit. We can factor it further. So here's our original problem right here. Here's one of our factors. Here's another factor that we're going to factor even further. This one should be easier. We could use the quadratic formula, but I think that guessing is going to work for us here. So we're going to say that x squared minus x minus 6 is probably going to be something like, these terms are going to be positive. So this is great. Positive, no coefficient. So it's going to be x, let's say minus 3 plus 2. Yeah, because we want it to be negative. Minus 3x plus 2. Again, we're going to add negative 3 and 2 to get negative 1, which is this coefficient. We're going to multiply negative 3 and 2 to get negative 6, which is this coefficient. Fantastic. So now we have 3 terms. That was pretty straightforward. And those 3 terms are x minus 2, x minus 3, and x plus 2. Oh, that's interesting, because this would have been an interesting thing to pull out. So if we had pulled this one out first, this would have been really easy to factor. Okay, and that's it for this for now. Thanks, y'all.